Good morning. I'm Olivia Hollaus for Boca Magazine, and thank you for joining us on another coffee break. And today's guest is our friend, Marius Ged, Managing Partner of Ged Lawyers. So great to see you, Marty, as always.
Good morning, Olivia. Great to see you today, too.
How's your week going so far?
It's been a long week so far. There's a lot of legislative issues going on in the Florida Senate and in the Florida House, so we're trying to be abreast of those, making sure that our clients are aware of the legal pending issues going on. And we've just been doing a lot of webinars this week, it feels like.
Oh, well, look, it's always good to be busy and you're at the forefront of it all. So today we are talking about residential plumbing claims. You know,
Yes.
not something that I typically would think about a pipe bursting at home, but how often does that happen?
So I think the issue we're trying to touch upon is these cast iron pipes and how they can potentially, damage people's homes. And in Florida, it's kind of a smaller population because it really is only for homes that were built prior to 1975 that could be affected by this. So the newer homes have different types of plumbing systems, whether it's copper, whether it's IPEX or different PVC related piping. But homes that were built prior to 1975 could be built with cast iron pipes, and that's a big problem.
Okay, well, talking about big problems. So, if this happens, right, should I be calling, my insurance company first, or should I be calling a plumber? I mean, what are the steps that should be taken?
So I think the best legal advice and practical advice is, man, when there's a plumbing problem, get the plumber there first. The insurance company is by no way or means equipped to have a plumber come to your house. They don't do that. They're in the business of paying claims, right? Your job as the homeowner are to protect your property and mitigate your damages. And it's important to know what are the signs really of these types of these pipe issues. And with specifically with cast iron pipes and the claims that we've actually handled, there's a distinct you can notice it, like whether it's smell, whether it's your drains aren't draining, they're slow in draining, whether there's infestation of roaches or there's some discoloration in water. So basically what happens is when these homes are built with cast iron is iron and it's subject to oxidation. It's kind of science from 8th grade. So those pipes are reacting with the elements of Florida in the salt air and the underground water and the underground soil. And over time, these cast iron pipes rot out. They oxidize and rust out. It's nature doing its thing. So when they built these houses in the 50s, they didn't know, or I don't know if they knew, because I just don't know that part, but they stopped building homes with cast iron pipes. So at some point after 1950, 60, they realized that these pipes are going to have a natural, term of lasting of 20 to 30 years, and there's a problem. So you got to look for the signs first. And your question is, who do you call first? Call the plumber. That's who I'm calling. I'm stopping the problem. I'm not, going to have any more leakage anywhere, and I want to protect the property.
Right, because once you get water damage, then it just becomes a whole slew of problems, And in terms of homes that are built after 1975, I mean, could there be plumbing issues? I mean, can that happen as well for the
Oh
newer?
my God. We see so many plumbing issues.
You
Um,
do?
Whether it's a pipe that was burst, a lot of times someone's doing work in their house and there's obviously the pipes are all behind our walls and no one knows exactly where they are. So maybe you're having an AC guy do repair work and he drills into the wall and hits the pipe. We get those claims all the time. A hot water heater bursting. Have you replaced yours yet? Um,
Actually, my mom just replaced hers yesterday. That's so
okay.
funny to say that.
Hot water heater failures happen all the time, and then sometimes they explode and the water leaks. Now put that situation in a condo where the guy above you's hot water heater leaks. It's coming into your unit. So water claims are very harmful because water, once it hits the sheetrock, and whether it's furniture, sheetrock, flooring, it pretty much ruins it. You can try to dry it up and try to get it cleaned up as quick as possible, but it just never looks the same. And water damages the property pretty bad.
Well, I have a twofold question. At what point then should an attorney come into the picture? And is there a deadline in terms of filing a claim for these types of issues?
Great question. So when you have these types of losses, the first thing that's important is to mitigate the loss, whether it's call a plumber, call a contractor, call the water department if the water's coming from the city and leaking from your main. So stopping the problem is key. Secondly, put the insurance company on notice of the claim, call them, report the claim, and then let their adjuster come out to your house and write up the estimate. If at that point you don't believe you're getting fair compensation, which happens unfortunately a lot of the times, then you call the attorney. You should try to let your insurance company adjust the claim, and sometimes they do it right. Sometimes there's no need for the attorney, and then the claim gets paid properly, and you move forward.
Right. Well, for instance, will an insurance company actually pay to repipe one's home?
Depends on the policy. Okay. Yes, the short answer is yes, subject to policy language. Now, what's going on in with the cast iron specifically, because this problem is like the last 5 years, it's gotten a little better, but prior to that, there was a lot of cast iron claims, and the insurance company became aware of this and they amended their policies to exclude. So South Florida, a lot of the homes are newer, but when you go to North Florida and other areas throughout Florida, rural areas, those houses are old. So it's in those pocket areas. So the short answer is a lot of policies do cover it, but you have to make sure you're buying the right coverage.
Right. So again, I know that you've offered this in the past, but you're always so open to having people send you their actual contract with their insurance, and just so you can make sure that they are properly covered.
Absolutely. And I put that offer out there again today, whether it's a homeowner's policy, an auto policy, we do policy reviews all the time for our clients for free.
That's really great and so generous of you. Now, if the insurance denies someone's claim, I mean, what kind of recourse, does one have after that?
Sure. So that's usually where we get involved. That's usually the genesis of us getting involved, is a denial or an underpayment. So once the client gets a denial, I would advise them to reach out to an attorney. And then it's our job, what we do at least, is we hire the proper experts to justify and to prove the causation. A lot of times the insurance company sends out what's called an independent adjuster who works for a third party, and they go out to the property and they may not be trained to identify the claim. So they may not see something properly and they write it up differently. So when we get that denial, that's where the case starts, and that's where we get, if necessary, after we review the file to determine if it's a covered loss to find coverage, then we get the experts involved to prove our damages. And that's the key, because I'm a lawyer, you're a media person, right? We're not plumbers, we're not electricians, we're not roofers, we're not engineers. We don't have the ability to make those opinions. So we bring the proper professionals into the case, which will help us make our position, prove our position.
Right. And, you know, I guess one of the major concerns, when filing a claim, I think in general, is that perhaps your insurance fee will go up. Is that an actual true thing, or is that kind of a myth?
I'm going to position the question a little differently. I get that question from almost every client. If I make a claim, is my insurance going to go up? I have a question for you. How many years have you been buying your homeowner's insurance?
Oh my gosh, few years, probably four or
Has
five
it
years.
ever gone down?
No.
Goes up every year, regardless of the claim, right?
Right.
So, look, insurance companies are obviously in the business of collecting premiums to pay claims later on. If you have a water loss or you have a hurricane loss, the group of people that are involved in the insurance pool, those pool of people may see a rate increase. They're not going to say, Olivia, she made a claim, we need to raise her by 20%. It doesn't go like that. And that's actually not permitted in the state of Florida. So what happens with these, like hurricanes? We've had, unfortunately, 3-4 years of pretty bad hurricanes, and the insurance companies did pay out a lot of claims. So what they do, they file what's called rate modifications with the insurance commissioner, and they ask for rate increases, and they do it across the board. So my response to that is, have you ever seen a decrease in your insurance policy? It doesn't usually happen. And most likely, when there are those types of catastrophic losses, the insurance company needs to build their reserves up, and they will increase the premiums of everyone in that pool, not just Olivia.
All right. Well, good. Well, that's really good to know. Are there any recurring common mistakes that you keep seeing clients making when, they're faced with, these types of issues, plumbing, water damage? I mean, is there something that you kind of keep seeing that say, oh, no, you shouldn't have done this?
So one of the common call it mistakes or just not experienced in this is when the insureds or the policyholders believe in their heart that the independent adjuster or the insurance company is going to do the right thing. And it's not that, look, insurance companies are companies, they're not human beings, right? We are human beings that have emotions, and these are our houses and our personal property. So a lot of times the insured or the policyholder gets emotionally wrapped up that they're not being taken care of by the insurance company, and they're not getting their claim paid fast, and they're not getting their claim paid to full value. And that's their business. You got to understand that. So that's the most common mistake that I see.
Right. Where to try and take the emotions out of it, I guess, right?
And really trying to handle it themselves. So
Yeah.
we're both professionals, right? When you have an elbow ache, you don't fix it yourself. You go to an orthopedic doctor.
Right.
And when handling these types of claims, and I don't care if you're a doctor, an engineer, anything, or a school teacher, the insurance company has so much more information on the way to handle this claim and the claims handling process, that you're just at the onset of this at such a disadvantage. So
Well,
that's generally the biggest mistake.
right. So ask for help,
Yeah.
go seek out expert advice and assistance. Is there something that we haven't touched upon that you would like to share with our viewers about today's topic?
I think it's an issue that most people aren't aware of cast iron pipes. They don't know if they have it. They don't know if it's something that's affecting their property. And the problem is that cast iron piping runs throughout your house, and once it blows or um, has a major failure, you're going to have a tremendous, tremendous problem. So you kind of have to be preemptive. And really the key is look for the signs, look at when your house was built, see if you have cast iron piping, and then speak to someone about it. Whether it's a plumber or an attorney, speak to someone about it.
All great advice. And so now for the fun question, Marty.
We always have a fun one.
It is, and it's, I think, a kind of a difficult one. I think you're really going to have to think about it. So, if you could have dinner with any three guests, who would they be?
Um, hmm.
Yeah, I told you
Wow.
about
That's a
it.
very good one. I would probably say Frank Sinatra,
Okay.
um, Babe Ruth, and for a third, Nelson Mandela.
Wow, I was not expecting that, but what an amazing group of, leaders, and honestly, that would be an amazing dinner. I would like to be a fly on that wall.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, you answered that question brilliantly on the fly. And as always, thank you so much for joining us. Always super informative, and we really enjoy our segments with you and Ged Lawyers.
Thanks a lot, Olivia. Great being here, and have a great rest of the week.
You too. And thanks to our viewers for joining us. Until next time, have a wonderful weekend. Bye.